Katie is so in control.
She's on it.
Agreement with Tyler Technologies for the purchase, development, implementation, and continued support of an enterprise resource planning software system. B, execute the agreement, and C, fund $650,035.55 from 10401 capital.
Thank you for that. Is this a Helenita? Oh,
What's a Brad?
all right, Brad.
Brad's like,
It's a combined item.
It's a joint.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brad Adams, IT Director, ADAMS, for the record. Any questions you may have?
got none.
Yeah, I don't have any either. How about we open it up to public? Sam, do we have anybody on the phone?
There's no comment on the phone.
Thank you. We're going to close public.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve, execute, and fund from 10401 capital.
4 seconds.
We have a motion on the floor in a second if there's nothing further. Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Where's I?
Aye. Did you, yea or nay?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 20, please. There you go, Brad.
Item 20 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, approve the purchase of replacement of aging legacy first responder public safety radios with Motorola APX P25 Phase 2 TDMA and multi-frequency band capable radios to allow/enhance interoperability, add encryption license for LE, and to work with the SNACC Phase 2 system upgrade, allowing doubling of all trunk system site voice channel capacity. This item is for 139 radios totaling $1,277,915.77, with estimated install labor included, and B, fund the expenditures totaling $1,277,915.77 from 10213 Emergency Systems Capital.
Thank you for that. That was a mouthful.
Oh, I was wondering why Sam was so brutal to manager and made him ring that number twice. There you go.
Commissioners, would you mind if I just go ahead and give a little bit of background on this?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So within our radio network, we are tied to Southern Nevada Area Communication Councils. That's a core that allows us to have interoperability through Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. So it's one of 2 major cores in Southern Nevada. The other one, which is about equal size, is Metrocom. So both systems are a Motorola P25 system. They are trunked and do have conventional components. We are tied through our microwave over to this NAC core and also up the backbone of our county to maintain all of our conventional sites. The radios that we have over the last 6+ years, I've had it on a earmark for capital approval to replace an X number of radios every year to have us in good shape by fiscal 27. Over that time, we replaced on average between about 32 and 43 radios per year. However, over that time, we also have had some increase in requests for radios, needs for radios, new staffing, and other concerns that adjusted that number. Southern Nevada Area Communications Council, otherwise known as SNAC, the Board of Directors has put a requirement for member organizations that we are one of the larger member organizations to be ready with all our subscriber equipment, all the field radios, to be capable of phase 2, which is a major system upgrade. So gearing our microwave up to hybrid operation that allow phase 2 and geo-redundant core for reliability on the Clark County side and Nye County side. But the replacement of the radios with radios that are multi-band, that are capable of phase 2 operation, that are capable of advanced encryption and other needs, has been a project that we've been working on for quite some time. Since the SNAC Board of Directors pushed up the deadline, they really wanted the agencies to be ready by 2024, so within fiscal 24. With the microwave and all of our other needs, we just weren't able to meet that. However, we've been able to replace some additional radios out of capital in the last year that were purchased with the vehicles for NCSO, so that brought our total from 169 that was approved at the 911 Advisory Committee, brought it down to 139. So as it stands, there's a breakdown on page 2 of where these radios are anticipated to be committed. Now, because this fund, this is the 911 fund, in the backup there is a DA opinion based on the use of funds to confirm that the caller on 911 all the way back to the radio system, the call handling system, the dispatch location, the comm sites, the infrastructure, all the way to the radio that the officer is engaging the public with, that all is all appropriate use of funds. So within this, the breakdown does include encryption for law enforcement. The licensing, these are software-defined radios, so the licensing can be added at any time later for encryption. However, it is relatively expensive, about $800 per unit. So as in discussion with the sheriff, anticipate only encryption being available on law enforcement radios. Those radios, if necessary for other joint operations, would be loaned in those situations to control encrypted talk groups. Within this is broken down for south and north. All of the breakdown we consider at one point or another, at very least, will be a first responder. And that is either directly a first responder or, like with bailiffs, they're post-certified, and there are times at which they assist, as a first responder, assist the deputies. So in addition to the total number of radios and the quantity and cost is $2.40 million, is a time and materials estimate through Macintosh for installation here at a rate of 3 units per day that we can feed them from Nye County Sheriff's Office, that will bring them down to prompt. So we can have about 50 of them replaced here with the R&R, and then we'll do the rest of them in-house. Most of those are fire apparatus, and we can't pull them out of area, and it's too expensive to have a contractor go out to each one of those sites to replace the radios, program them, align them. So the breakdown, internal labor is estimated at $11,252. So that comes for a total of $1,277,915.77. The budget on the 10213 911 fund, in the 5-year master plan, the budget, we've done the breakdown, fiscal 25 with the known expenditure and obligations for the 911 system support, any other obligations like the 911 trunks and additional support, and these expenditures under agenda item 20 and 21 is anticipated to be an expenditure of $1.848 million, leaving an ending fund balance in fiscal 25 of $683,876. The expenditures, including fixed obligations within the 911 fund, are anticipated to be $1.848,075, with an ending fund balance anticipated to be $683,876.
That's after, excuse me, that's after everything's paid for, it leaves 700,000.
That's correct. Yeah, so that's after everything's paid for in fiscal 25. So 26 is part of the 5-year master plan. We also have another item that will be part of, which is 2021 and 22 for logging, that will also be part of this year's expenditures and then support into fiscal 26.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have questions, or you want to do public comment? Go ahead, sir.
Helen? How much is in 10213 now? Please.
$2,094,951.
Thank you. I'm done.
All right, let's open this up to public comment. Sam, do we have anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, I think we got one. Come on up.
Tammy Pittman, P-I-T-M-A-N. So Motorola being the industry standard, being a radio tech for 10 years, and a ham radio operator, Motorola would be the only one I would recommend. Looking at the $900 per radio, well, is a bit costly. You can get them used for $750 to $800. So it's not a bad price, especially if you're getting a warranty with it. Communication being what it is, the lifeblood of our community, it's worth the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam, one more time. Anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, we're going to close that. Commissioners, do we have anything?
One more thing. Remember, these are probably made in China, right?
No.
They're not?
No, I do not believe they are. I can say that we have been advised in discussions with Motorola that there's a high probability that we will be, if we postpone, we will be impacted by the tariff over the southern border.
That's what I'm worried about. Okay.
Not necessarily China, but over the Mexico.
All right, thank you.
Chair?
Go ahead.
Brad, on your list of where radios are going, there's a list for the Beatty dispatcher receiving one. Do we have a Beatty dispatcher anymore?
We have contingency operations, the contingency to have a radio available for.
So they can walk in the room and it's there?
So when we go down levels of contingencies, we have, these contingencies are put in place to make sure that when we get down to where they're having to use the radio at a local dispatch location, we're pretty deep into contingencies. But there are other reasons why we have those radios in dispatch. We do maintain them in dispatch, whether it is manned or not.
Answers the question. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? I am looking for,
Mr. Chair,
go ahead, Commissioner.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of replacement.
Are you on the mic, sir?
I turned it off and
Try again.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of replacement of aging legacy first responders, public safety radios, item number 20 on today's agenda.
I would like to second with the friendly amendment to fund from 10213 Emergency Systems Capital.
I have a motion and a second. If there's nothing further, I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Where is I?
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. How about 21, please?
Spending a lot of
So
money.
Brad doesn't run away.
Can I make a request? Can we open 21 and 22 simultaneously?
Betcha.
They are related to each other.
Betcha.
Got my water bottle with me, so. All right, for possible action, discussion deliberation to A, approve 2 agreements with Gosirco, Inc., one for the Pahrump location and one for the Beatty location, for the purchase, licensing, implementation of Eventide Redundant Digital 911 and Radio Logging Recording System, SAN storage servers, CAD interface implementation, quality control, and advanced reporting software. B, execute the agreements, and C, fund both agreements totaling $218,407.30. from 10213 Emergency Systems Capital. And item 22 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, approve an agreement with Motorola for the purchase, licensing, and implementation of redundant audio interface servers with encryption licensing to allow the SNAC core radio system to integrate with the above logging system. B, execute the agreement, and C, fund $168,550 from 10213 Emergency Systems Capital.
Thank you for that, and thank you for doing them together. All right. Commissioners, do we have any questions? No, sir. All right, let's open it up to public. Sam, do we have anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, we're going to close public comment.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve, execute, and fund all agreements for both item number 21 and 22 from 10213 Emergency Systems Capital.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where's I?
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. Number 23, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a disclosure. The proponent of this has in the past allowed me to use campaign signs on his land. I know it's not, because of the wording of a significant interest being something along the lines of getting elected, I just, out of an abundance of caution, I just want to mention that there's no economic value to that, in my opinion, and we don't report that when we put yard signs in. But again, out of an abundance of caution, I'd like to disclose that I have had campaign signs in property owned by the person who put this before our agenda. I will be voting on it because it's not something that would set aside being irrationality or being rational on voting on this. But I do want to disclose that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Planning. Who's here for planning?
Want me to read the item first?
Go ahead. Try that. We'll start there.
Item 23 for possible action, discussion and deliberation regarding a request to set date, time, and location for a public hearing on Nye County Bill number 2025-01, bill proposing to amend Nye County Code Title 17, Comprehensive Land Use Planning and Zoning by amending Chapter 17.04 entitled Pahrump Regional Planning District relating to Section 17.04.820, manufactured homes and factory-built homes, to allow for a waiver from the 10-year age restriction and providing for the severability, constitutionality, and the effective date thereof, and other matters properly relating thereto.
Thank you for that. So this is just date and time.
It is, set and date and time.
Did I already do public? Let's see. Do we have anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
I see one coming on down. And this is just for the date and time. Go right ahead.
Is it on now?
Oh,
Nope.
very good.
Kelly Apolinar, Apolinar. I understand this is just a discussion, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we were trying to, we have a home that's in really, really excellent condition. You don't need any of that right now?
Nope.
Okay, okay.
Time.
That's
We
fine.
really
Thank you.
did mean
Thank
just
you,
set a
though.
date and time.
Okay, all right,
Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Sam, anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, we're going to close public, and then I'm ready.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to set the date and time for the public hearing, April 15th, 2025, 10 a.m. here in Pahrump.
4 seconds.
Got a motion and 2 seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where's I?
Aye.
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. 24, please.
Item 24 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, approve, amend, and approve, or reject amendment number 1 to task order number 8 between Atkins Realis USA, Inc. and Nye County to provide environmental planning, design, and bidding phase services for replacement of the emergency generator at the Tonopah Airport, increasing the not-to-exceed amount to $131,366.67. B, execute the amendment, and C, fund from 10209 Airport.
Thank you for that. Who's,
We have Mr. Bowling on the phone.
okay, cool, Director.
I think his phone is muted, but he's not
Right
muted
there.
on. There he
Yeah,
goes.
I turned. If I unmute my phone, huh? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
I apologize. I'm rushing to get back there. I expected for Mr. Adams to take a little bit longer than he did, so I thought I was looking at something out there in the field. So this is just an increase for us to in the. Sorry, apologize. Trying to drive here. For the environmental portion and planning portion to be able to replace the generator at the airport in Tonopah.
Okay. Any questions for the director? Did I already,
Not while he's driving, no.
did we already do, let's do, is there anybody on the phone, Sam? Let's open public comment.
No, Chair.
Thank you. We're gonna close that public comment then and ready.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to approve and amend. I'd like to amend the fund from 10209 to 10340. And I would like to approve the amendment, the amended motion to task order number 8 between Atkins and Knight County for environmental planning, design, et cetera, for the emergency generator at Tonopah Airport.
DuBois seconds executing the amendment.
Thank you. I have a motion on, and a second. I'm gonna call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Was I?
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. Number 25, please. Don't go away, Tom.
Item 25
I'm
for,
pulling in the parking lot right now.
want me to read slow?
If we hurry, we can beat them.
Get it done.
Read slow.
Item 25 for possible action, discussion and deliberation. 2, A, amend, approve, amend and approve, or reject task order number 10 between Atkins Realist USA, Inc. and Nye County to provide environmental planning, design, and bidding phase services for a seal coat of taxiway A at the Tonopah Airport in the amount not to exceed $69,914. B, execute the amendment. And C, fund from 10209 Airport.
Thank you for that. Let's start with public. Do we have anybody on the phone?
No, no, Chair.
Okay, we're gonna close public. I was trying to kill time.
Mr. Chair,
Heard the door.
I would like to do the same thing. I'd like to amend and approve task order number 10, amending the fund from 10209 to 10340.
DuBois seconds
Got a motion on the
executing
floor
the amendment.
and a second. And let's call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Was I?
Aye.
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. 26,
You
please.
run in?
You got it. There was actually a parking spot right out front here. Never is, so that's good.
Item 26 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, approve, amend and approve, or reject task order number 11 between Atkins Realist USA, Inc. and Nye County to provide environmental planning, design, and bidding phase services for a seal coat of the runway 16-34 taxiway A, taxiway B, and apron at the Beatty Airport in the amount not to exceed $76,250. B, execute the amendment, and C, fund from 10209 Airport.
Thank you for that. Do we have anybody on the phone, Sam?
Chair.
All right, we're going to close public comment. If there's nothing further,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to, again, amend and approve task order number 11, amending fund from 10209 to 10340. And I'd like to make a comment for everybody that after we pay for all of this, in a few months after that, we get all but 6.5% of that money back.
DeBoer seconds executing the amendment.
we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
DeBoer's aye.
Aye.
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. Let's do 27. And we could have buzzed through these.
Item 27 for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, approve the purchase of property needed for expansion of the road department yard consisting of 0.189 acres located at 751 East Zeba Lane, Pahrump, Nevada, assessors parcel number 038202-24. B, propose compensation for the property to the property owner based on the appraisal. And C, direct staff to prepare and record the necessary documentation to transfer the property.
Chair, I'd like to make a disclosure.
Go ahead.
I'm a Nevada real estate broker. I have no pecuniary interest in this item. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. Mr. Bowling, Director.
Tom Bowling, B-O-L-L-I-N-G. This is another purchase of the parcels of land that we were trying to get around the Zeba cul-de-sac there. This will complete the purchase of what fronts the fencing, which is on the other side of that. It's the B&G. Yeah, there's one more, and then we'll be able to get rid of that cul-de-sac completely and be able to absorb that into the road department as well. We continue to try to ask these people if they would be willing to sell, and we were able to secure this for the same price that we've been getting all the other pieces of land, so there was no increase.
Chair,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
you're doing such a great job at this. Can you help acquiring the rest of the property that's beside the arena? The arena board is asking for help on that.
Yeah, we can start reaching
It's
out
a-
if you
it's a
want.
Street, yes, please.
Oh, we get
Because
with,
we don't have anybody working on that.
would that go through Jimmy or would that go through Sam? I mean, how would that department would that go through?
The department, Jimmy will be happy to help with that because he's been acquiring some of them. But somehow you're reaching out and
Yeah.
I can't do it, so
Right.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See what we can figure out.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Tom, thank you for securing almost all of it. But the one, when you say there's one left,
Right.
are you having trouble reaching the last
Yes.
parcel?
Yeah, I think that one there was not responsive whenever we reached out. And I think that's the last non-responsive one. The one on the very corner said no, and then the one on the other very corner said no. But the other one is non-responsive, so.
I have a suggestion. If you really can't reach them, you might want to consider condemnation proceedings. I mean, it's an option if it's necessary. And I don't know how necessary it is, but it is.
Condemnation comes with compensation.
Correct, but the compensation is based on the fair market value,
Right.
Which we're gonna pay anyways.
which I think
Okay.
you've already kind of established the fair market value for those lots.
Yeah.
I just throw that out there as a potential thing to consider.
Well, I'll tell you what our circumstance is for the rodeo arena.
And the same thing, we could use the same process there if we needed to.
We are using that. They're parking on it. like
Yes,
it's
I agree.
ours,
Yeah.
And we can't seem to stop that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a problem.
Eminent domain.
How long have you been trying to reach them?
We've been working on this 2 years now. Yeah.
I can't say the same for the abutments to the arena. I don't know that.
I don't think
I
that
don't know
they've
what
ever
kind of work-
actually reached out. I know that the few parcels that Jimmy has gotten was through the tax sales,
Right. And I think there was actually one that was listed.
possibly. Yeah,
This guy's supposed to be local or out of town?
they're all out of town.
It's something for consideration, I suppose, in the longer discussion.
All right, let's open up public comment. Do we have anybody, Sam?
No, Chair.
All right, we're going to close that up. Board.
Mr. Chair, to make a motion to approve the purchase of property needed for expansion consisting of 0.189 acres located at 751 East Zeba Lane. Propose compensation for the property to the property owner based on the appraisal, and direct staff to prepare and record the necessary documentation to transfer the property.
Or
Chair?
seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to get in there before a second. One of the things that I just noticed was that there's nothing about where this would be funded from. So my question to the DA is, could that just be handled in the motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading something else.
There's,
Apologize.
that's okay. There's nothing in this agenda item saying how this would be, where this would be funded from for this purchase. Could that be clarified in the motion?
Could be if we knew what that number was.
Well, I know
Well, you
Tom
could,
does.
you could actually, they could actually leave it open-ended to allow staff to determine what fund would be the appropriate fund. There's nothing wrong with that.
And
that
allow,
have to be in
and
the
allow
motion?
staff to
I would
decide
add that to the
appropriate
motion.
fund.
On your agenda sheet, it does say in the staff recommendation, fund number.
10, Chair, through the chair, 10205, I will amend my second.
Oh, there it is.
Are you amending your first?
Yes.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jabor's aye.
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. 28, please.
Item 28, for possible action, discussion and deliberation to A, discuss bid number 2025-01 MC 800 cold mix. B, let the contract without further bidding in accordance with NRS 338.143. C, fund from 10205 roads. Or D, provide direction to staff on how to proceed with the project.
Thank you for that. Tom?
So we advertised for the coal mix contract. We received 0 bids. We did have interest during the pre-bid meeting. We had contractors attend the pre-bid meeting, but we received 0 bids. So we're asking for the board to allow Public Works to be able to go out and purchase this material, which we use readily all the time. But anytime we purchase without a contract, we have to stop at 100,000. That's why we wanted to get a contract for this, so we could spend the 320 to 400,000 that we use a year. We need to be able to go and purchase that from whoever we see fit to purchase it from. Just like same thing with the type 2 contract that we did last time, whenever there wasn't any good bidders to award the contract to.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why would the one supplier in town not be wanting to do a contract?
The scuttle I have is that their plant's having problems, and so they might not be able to make it. I don't know. They were the person that attended the pre-bid conference. So
I know what I would say to that question. I don't know if the price of fuel and all the things that are relevant to this could fluctuate. I wouldn't want to be stuck with a contract for a year.
Right.
It's too difficult. We could probably look at this quarterly and you might be able to get bidders.
yeah,
It's going to be the same bidder.
it's going to be the same bidder either way.
So that would be my take on it.
Right.
You just never know where it's going to go.
Yep, and it's also, in the past, we were requiring them to keep a 500-ton stockpile and stuff like that. In this bid, we actually changed it, because then if they make a 500-ton stockpile and we don't end up purchasing it before the contract's out, then they're stuck with 500 tons of stuff that they can't use. So we actually changed it in this one. You have the initial stockpile that you have to make, and then after that, you weren't required to keep anything until we requested it. So they didn't have to keep it on the ground. Because a lot of the times that stuff, after a year, it'll go bad. Yeah, it'll get hard and chunky, and it's hard to use. So in the meantime, while we've been doing all this stuff, since the local supplier doesn't have it, we've been getting it out of Vegas. And stuff we've been getting out of Vegas is not bad. It's just expensive to drive there and get it.
Right.
So we were definitely hoping on getting a local contract for that.
Okay.
How much of cold mix do we waste, though? I mean, we put it in a hole, and then 3 days later, it's somewhere else, and the hole's still there.
Is it
How
the
do we
same
get-
hole
How do
though?
we get around that? That's my,
Is it the same hole?
yeah,
It's the same hole, right? So a lot of time people have,
I know.
turned in those complaints.
bigger.
So then we went and
Same
looked
hole.
at it, and what we patched was still there, and the hole was right next to it, just continuing
No,
on
I
down
get
the
that.
street. So
Same hole.
you have to make sure it's the same hole they actually patched. And a lot of times it's not. So we're not wasting anything. We just need to redo the roads.
You want pictures of same hole?
Sure, if you have some.
Okay.
All right, let's try some public comment. Do we have anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, here comes one. All right, oh, wait, just kidding.
Tim Bohannon, BOHA, I am live, not Memorex. Couple things. One, it would be nice to be in some sort of agreement that we feel comfortable with time-wise on prices, because you do want to lock something in. As Commissioner Strickland says, we don't know where it's going to be. We're on a roller coaster right now. It's a pretty accurate comment, I would think. And a little bit of forecasting or forward look, not only now, but 2 years, 3 years from now, can be beneficial. Now, that's the best guess. And that's not something I'm going to plan on today. Because it's a wild card right now. So the quarterly was a decent suggestion for some period that we feel comfortable with, that we're not going to get hurt in a short-term, intermediate-term perspective, but we got to lock in something at some point in a reasonable fashion. Now, let's get it down to the real issue. Patchwork is patchwork is patchwork is patchwork, and it never stops. It never does. And, I spent a lot of time in Midwest with all the weather and everything else, and welcome to potholes. Pothole season, probably about March and April. Then the cones come out. Then they keep coming out, and they stay out and for perpetual, and it just keeps going. Bottom line is, if there's a way of reducing base materials that we get on permanent road development, or better material from that standpoint, we should consider it. Weigh the cost options, obviously, weigh the patchwork, and then keep good log from an accounting standpoint of what we're spending on that and our cost benefit. Keep tracking this one. This one's a big number, and it matters. But if you can get into a contract that's a reasonable period of time, gives you a good rate, take it.
Thank you on that. Sam, anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right, we're going to close that out. And,
Before you make a motion,
yeah,
you can't leave an open-ended contract since it's been bid. You're allowed to go out to contract because nobody bidded. But I don't think it's appropriate to have an open-ended contract. So I think what you need to do, based on what was stated today, is I think you need to authorize the purchase for 1 year.
Yeah,
And at the end of that 1 year, then we would have to go back and try to rebid if we have to. But to leave it open-ended would be problematic.
there is a date, should be a date in your backup of when the original bid was supposed to expire, which would be June 30th of 26. From the date of signing to June 30th, 26.
Yeah, so yeah, whatever the
I was
date,
gonna mention-
whatever the date was in there, yeah, that needs to be the limitation on the length of this contract.
okay. Cool. All right, board.
And I just wanted to add that the material that the reason why we're going for this contract was because we were using it more for overlays than actual patchwork. We're trying to move more into using the Durapatchers as much as possible for the patchwork than using the cold patch material. So most of this material will go to doing overlays, which have performed very well in the past here, so.
Okay. Board, What do we want to do here? You can do somebody.
We're trying to find the date.
June 30,
June 30th?
So, yeah, it's in there.
26, I believe, right?
June 30th?
Yeah, June 30th of 26, yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to let the contract without further bidding for 2025-01 MC 800 cold mix in accordance with NRS 338.143, fund from 10205, and put a ending date of June 30th, 26,
2026, yeah.
2020.
4 seconds with a max of up to 400,000?
Yes,
Is that right?
yes.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. I'm going to call for the vote now.
Aye.
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 Where's I?
Boscovich, aye. That carries 5-0. Thank you. Why did 29 poll, by the way? Why did he, are they not doing the race, or are they just?
I can answer that if you
Go
like.
ahead, please.
We were contacted by Best in the Desert, and they decided to keep their race course primarily in another county and
That's
not in
unfortunate.
my county.
Unfortunate. Okay, number 30, please. Thank you for that, Sam.
Item number 30, general public comment, up to 3-minute time limit per person. Public comment will be for all matters off the agenda. Action will not be taken on the matters considered during this period until specifically included on an agenda as an action item.
Hello, Marianne.
I'd like to see that same wording applied to any contract for the Civic Center, 1 year. There is a number that is ricocheted in my head.
Excuse me.
Hold on. I think she got it cleared through DA.
Oh, no, I'm asking whether she said her name
Oh, I'm
and spelled
sorry.
it for the record.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Can you spell your last name, Marianne? Sorry.
Oh, Hollis.
I apologize.
There is a number that has ricocheted in my head like a bad dream for more than 3 years and is triggered every time that I open a document and I see that number as a funding request from other resources. That number is 2.4 million. Originally, it was ARPA funded in a line item for a pandemic refuge center. That money has been reallocated. Now it is a line item in the LACTF allocation and has been approved for funding. My calculations for the current funding resources are at 4 million room tax, 2.4 LACTF, $1 million in HUD, and $1 million from Horsford, for a total of about 8.4 million for an estimated $16 to $18 million project. Even with a guaranteed cost, there will be additional costs for roads, electricity, and maintenance. If you can't fully fund the deferred maintenance request, why would you even consider another maintenance-heavy project? I'd like to share an interesting story. A highly credentialed senior project manager for MGM was invited to a multi-million-dollar yacht for a party. And guess what the name of that yacht was? Change orders. That's what will drive this project over the top. And that runaway train for funding, considering the tariffs that are considered for current building materials that are being discussed, will put us in bankruptcy. There's an off-ramp for this project right now when you consider what those tariffs will add to that cost. Just keep that in mind, because now the $2.4 million number is back in my head, which I have followed closely for 3+ years. Missed one meeting where it was reallocated, but it's back like that bad penny nightmare I have. So when the design is presented and the price tag is given, think of everything that I've just said. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Do we have anybody on the phone, Sam?
Yes, Chair, the caller is unmuted. Please speak and spell your name for the record.
Hello, Commissioners. Michael David Garcia, Garcia. Definitely the procedure side of there is there, you know. Y'all are whizzing right through those items. But again, I do want to let it be known my money's on the executive side to clean up the judiciary, and that seems to be the big hiccup. So I do want to make a notation that I think Esmeralda should be, concerned about their liberty stake in the Fifth Judicial Court as well. So I don't understand why those commissioners aren't involved. And I also wanted to bring you up to speed also. I don't know if y'all keep up with the Clark County as well, but we just had a commissioner there wipe all their text messages and emails to Governor Sisolak, basically on an $80 million project. So it's all coming to head. Also, Joan Ebert, she just got a job down there as superintendent. But the funny thing about it is Joan Ebert was here at Front Valley High School on December 10th, 2019, right when our deputies, she was on the other side of the wall when we had multiple deputies in closets with children. So it's all coming full circle. I know it may be easier on your constitutional duties to ignore when our citizens are having their rights deprived. And parental rights, First Amendment, should be a no-brainer. Maybe we should start there before we start digging into open meeting violations. But it's all plain and day. We know who's standing up and who isn't. During the mandates, all of it. We can't turn a right into a privilege. And I caution these taxes without representation, but it was really about unlimited centralized power. That's the whole point of independence. So I do caution y'all and hope we do a little homework on the Constitution. That's where we raised our hand. And it's coming. But thank y'all and appreciate all y'all's help along the way. The FOIA request, Mr. Knight, you need to look into all the denials. You had Sheriff Worley up on that stage when some of y'all were elected up there during the debate, saying that council says the institution is greater than our need to know, so they decline it. So that's what we're looking for, the violations, federal violations, the weaponization, the lawfare. It only takes one prick to kill freedom. And I had two DAs say they would never put Captain Berkowitz on the stand. I got him up there for 2 hours pro se. Sullivan, y'all, imagine a judge don't even know Sullivan versus New York Times, 1964. Goes right over their head. Folks, y'all are the servant. You're not more important than the master. We, the people, we control it. And to weaponize it and to target citizens is grotesque, especially children.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. In Pahrump, Linda.
I have to compete with that. Linda Clark, C-L-A-R-K. I can't. I don't have that brain power. Remember, I'm blonde. I still have a lot of questions about transparency. And it may not be with all of you, but some of you. Maybe it's all together. I don't know. I just feel like this town, this community, this county is missing something here, and it starts with a T. It's transparency. I feel like we don't know what's going on, and when we do, we only get partial stuff. And I don't read all the backup. I don't print it out. My printer's not working, and I'm not going to waste the paper and ink on it. I can't afford it. So I take what I can from when I can get off my computer and try to bring it here and hold it in my brain. I'm really concerned about some of these costs. We always seem to have $1 million here and $1 million there, but yet we know we're all broke. So it always amazes me that you come up with money. And I said that before, and somebody else said it to me today. We raid Paul to pay off Peter. When does Paul get paid? That's my question. The other thing I have to say is the little radios that we're going to be replacing, what happens with the other ones that we have? Are they recycled? Are they going to be used by someone else on the committees? What happens to them? They're obviously still working. Maybe all of you should take one, and when we have an emergency, which I can see a lot of them coming up here, we can call you and say, hey, Ron, hey, John, hey, Deborah, we got an emergency here. Take care of it. Whether you will or not, I don't know.
But we should be recycling them. Why just throw them out? Does anybody know what's going to happen to them? Yeah, nobody knows. That's okay. We just throw money down the drain. Okay, but I think we need them. We need to keep current, especially after we had that incident that the fire chief told us about. And I still think you should get that helicopter. But I guess it's very expensive, so we can't afford it. The other thing I want to make a quick comment about is nice. Somebody on the board here said that I'm not nice. I don't speak nice. I don't say nice things about them. May be true, but I have that right. I want to say nice works both ways. And I don't feel like this community is being treated nice. And one of the reasons is that we don't have a lot of say about what goes on here. You're going to say, well, you need to come to the committee and speak. A lot of us do. Doesn't do any good. You still vote yes. And I told you before, easy word, N-O. You guys know how to spell it. You know how to write it.
Thank you.
My cat probably does.
Thank you.
Except I don't have a cat.
Thank you.
Okay, am I time up?
Yes.
Okay, I had more I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Shoot. All right, Sam, do we have anybody on the phone?
No, Chair.
All right. Tim, you're it.
Hi, Tim Bohannon, BOHA-NNON. Yeah, I do want to commend the chief on his work. That was quite a story today. Very, very helpful. A couple things. One, I do want to touch on budget. It's early. And the reason why I want to touch on budget is we have a facility up in Carver's that has not had any general maintenance for a very, very long time. And, you know, if we're fortunate, we'll get approved for a CDBG grant to put a restroom in. Well, the old one got decrepit and really the roof falling in and things of that nature. And I want to help keep that from happening in the future. There's some general maintenance concerns, especially with like electricity, that do need attention. I'd like some sort of small budget at least in there for that facility instead of it being ignored this year, as it has in the past. Second thing, open meeting law training has been happening. Sam, 20th, please, for me. The 20th. I think it's 19th. Fine.
Tomorrow.
That works. From a decorum standpoint, I was listening on the call, and there was a lot of Marine Corps words and Navy words being used, and it was noticeable, and I'd like to at least keep that a little bit in check, if we could. Decorum just seemed a little, BS here, BS there. Yeah, it was a little much. Couldn't have my kids in the room. Fortunately, my kids are old, so it doesn't matter. Couldn't have the grandkids in the room. Also, as a final thing, the DA made a massive comment, I thought, fantastic comment, at one of the Pahrump Regional Planning Commissions. He said the point of open meeting law, the point of being able to make sure that you are, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me for that, is to make sure that you can vote. The purpose is you want the commissioners to be able to vote, not to have to stand all the time. Disclosure, fantastic, but when there's not a pecuniary interest, to be able to participate in the process. And I thought that was a very important comment that he made. And, there's things I've had to abstain from if I had some direct involvement, and I have. But it's nice that we keep that in mind. The purpose is to participate in the process. Thank you.
Thanks. Manager number 30, please. I'm sorry, 31, please.
Item 31, Commissioner Manager comments. This item is limited to announcements, brief discussions of public comments, correction of factual inaccuracies, direction to staff, or topics proposed for future board meetings, lengthy deliberation of topics not on the agenda is prohibited by the Nevada open meeting law.
Thank you on that. Commissioner Bain? No? Commissioner Jabor?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank you all for your patience in being here. We're getting to get out a little early today. But I'd like to address something respectfully, sir. Being a member of the Nye County Parks and Recreation Committee, when we revived the committee and revisited the Carver's Arena, it was very clear to all of us, by all of us, that there was no money in the budget for that area. So it's not that we've been neglecting the Carver's Arena. We're coming into the new fiscal year, and I think the point is well taken, and that we need to budget some more for that and not just depend on CDBG coming up, and that's a great resource for us. But please, I needed to be very clear that none of us sitting here have neglected or ignored, especially that area. It's on the radar. So thank you and your committee for what you're doing for that area of Round Mountain Carvers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Koenig?
Yes, thank you. Direction of staff. Wake up. Staff. The April 1st meeting, I would like you to prepare to move that to April 8th because of absences on the board. I'd like to have a full meeting that day. So if you could do that, get back to us.
I was already working on that and just got confirmation that there is no conflicts on that date.
Good.
In addition to that, if I can add, we did have the budget workshop originally scheduled for the 8th.
Right.
But we're going to move that to the 9th.
Okay.
Which will be the next day. So yeah, doesn't
Right.
require board action, but we'll just make sure it's noticed properly and everything.
Good. Make sure you get all the info out to the public, especially the budget meeting, because I'm sure they'll be interested in next year's budget. I am. So, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Chair. So, may I?
Yeah.
May I? Thank you. So, Manager, I am okay with the 8th as the BOCC meeting, but I will be at a state tourism conference on the 9th and 10th. I can come back on the 11th. Yes. Yes. Well, I didn't know about the 9th until today.
Excuse me, I'm not on mic. We have a conflict for Commissioner.
The 11th is the 3rd anniversary of my new heart valve. So